Today, we're joined by Ben Haldeman with LifeShip, a visionary company on a mission to preserve Earth's story and life itself by sending DNA, seeds, art, and culture beyond our world. Founded by Ben Haldeman, LifeShip has already landed a pyramid shaped monument on the moon in March 2025 and is now working on future missions to asteroids and deep space. On today's episode, we'll explore how the convergence of technology, legacy, and cosmic ambition is redefining how we think about human identity, memory, and our place in the universe. So, thanks for being with us, Ben.
Awesome. Excited to be here. I'm excited about what Endora is doing also.
Well, thank you. Okay, so we'll definitely plan to touch on our sort of shared project. But first, it would be great if you could just kind of share a little bit about LifeShip and sort of y'all's origin story.
I founded LifeShip. I come from a bit of a space nerd background. I worked on instruments to look for life on Mars when I was in grad school at Berkeley, and I studied mechanical engineering. And then I spent 8 years building big telescopes around the world that have found all sorts of new planets around other stars. And so that really got me looking outwards and got me thinking about life and where else life could one day go and where else life could be and how life got here on Earth. And then I moved to San Francisco and I joined a startup called Planet, and Planet built small satellites to image the whole world every day. And so I designed the whole camera system on it, and we put over 300 satellites in space, and I worked on coordinating the getting our satellites on different rockets and flying around to different rocket companies around the world. And yeah, I really got to work on a lot of stuff that went to space, and that also really yeah, I've been an explorer and spend a lot of time in nature, but then building cameras to image the whole world every day and help Earth really kind of closed another part of the loop around using space to help Earth and using space to help life. Um, and then at one point on that journey, I was in the rainforest in Central America um, and went on a deep hike back in the forest and meditated under this tree. And I felt like I connected with the intelligence of Gaia or Earth and had this vision of just life like filling out every niche and every ecosystem it could on Earth, and that and the Earth is intelligent and conscious, and that she was ready to give birth and expand and bloom and send the seeds outwards, and so the Earth grew us humans with a purpose, and part of our purpose is to continue life and help spread life in the universe. And um, yeah, and so I came out of this and I instantly was like, my purpose is to create the seeds of Earth and send the seeds of Earth to the stars and spread life in the universe. Um, and that seemed kind of far out there and kind of like, why does this matter exactly today? But pretty shortly, it came as the first mission of seed banks and DNA banks and backups of Earth on the moon and across space, because that's something that could matter for our grandchildren and our great grandchildren. Is let's save a copy of all life today for future generations, and do it in a way that's like a bridge and a step towards these bigger cosmic dreams. And so that the yeah that's where LifeShip was born, out of the rainforest. And I've been on this mission for the last 6 years, and we've sent 5 objects to space already and landed one on the moon. And that landed on the moon on March 2nd of 2025, and we put a pyramid on the moon. So a small pyramid that fits in the palm of your hand, and it's packed with plant seeds and DNA of different species and all sorts of people's stories and art and photos and wishes and prayers. And so it's really a time capsule and a record of Earth and the code of life itself. And that's up there on the moon. And then we're doing more cool missions and step by step to the stars.
Okay, Between your conversation with Gaia in the rainforest, how much time elapsed between that and this moon landing in March?
Um, it was a good 5 years about.
Mm-hmm.
We did get something in space within about 2 years, I believe, maybe a year and a half. Um, and then we were on another mission that was supposed to land on the moon, and the lander, and so it couldn't quite land on the moon.
You're not going to be batting 1,000. Is it batting 100 or batting 1,000? Whatever it is, right out of the gate on this. Okay. So I would love to get into the like existential side of this, but logistically, so when you talked about your previous roles and connecting with, and I guess building partnerships with all different types of stakeholders in the space ecosystem, you know, how did that translate to what you were able to do with LifeShip and sort of, it seems to me like maybe there are a lot of people who would think it would be cool to start sending things to the moon, but obviously not everyone can do that. But you've contracted with these spacecraft carriers yourself. And were you able to do that obviously because of your existing network? And when, in either way, how receptive were people in the space industry to what you wanted to do?
Uh, yeah, so I had gotten to know a lot of people in the space industry, and I started deep in the weeds of designing camera systems, and but then ended up working on coordinating payloads to and how they attach to rockets, um, and traveling around and meeting them, and dealing with all the logistics. So I have both the deep experience of the mechanical design of something, like how to work with the rocket companies, how to go through all the testing they require, um, and then yeah, and then I got more into like product management and uh, dealing with customers and uses, and then the business side and the strategy side of space as well, and had lots of meetings with NASA and other government agencies, and um, so I got the perfect experience to work on this, and space is becoming more accessible, and it's possible for people to get on moon landers and do things. Normally, there's like a minimum size you need to do, and normally there's um, yeah, it has to uh, these stuff's expensive to get to the moon, and normally the companies that deal with it want like a certain size project to be worth it, and I think my experience and all the stuff I've worked in has gotten me to like push the boundaries a bit of like what is worth their time to work on and what they're excited to work on, and I've gotten to know the yeah, leads at different space companies that are excited about our mission, and wanted to help us get going and help us um, get stuff in space and get underway. And because I want to build bigger things and put bigger things in space, and so these companies would love to see another company that is working to build bigger things in space.
A lot of people kind of wonder, like, okay, why? Like, why do we need to do that? And why do we need to build a base on the moon? And why, what's the real value there? So, what is it from your perspective? Like, is it about unlocking secrets of the universe, just getting up there, pushing the boundary, seeing, just by exploring, you're bound to uncover some secrets, that are just waiting to be discovered in the universe. And I think I heard Elon or someone talking about that recently, about unlocking these secrets of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's what's really exciting. Like, you just think about all of the things we've already discovered that we're just sort of hiding in plain sight, or that you can't see at all. But once you figure it out, it opens a whole new world. So is that that to me is kind of what excites me about like the moon mission and just pushing the boundaries and then the possibilities of like what secrets might become unlocked in the process. But what do you how do you think about that?
Yeah, inherently, I think it's like it's what humans do. It's what life does. Like life expands and figures out how to live in the next in the next ecosystem and and to move outwards and to explore. And I think that's like in our DNA, in our programming, in what we do. And
Like when you think about what's going to happen on the moon long term, is it like mining, or I know people recently have been talking about AI data storage being cheaper on the moon or something, some crazy things. Are we about to try to commoditize the moon and just try to make money off of it, or is it about, you know, getting past the moon really eventually? Um,
yeah, and I'm inspired by a future where humanity humanity lives on the moon and Mars and across space and goes on to to other stars and expands across the galaxy and I think that's a beautiful future for our species it's a dream that we're living and can create and it inspires people and so yeah I think uh, humanity and humans, people around Earth need things that are like, oh, I'm excited about our species, and this is where we're headed and where we're going, um, and I don't, I I think space can be like a pinnacle in a way that we're flourishing and moving outwards, and abundance will come from space. There's so much out there that will help Earth. There's abundance of energy. There's abundance of minerals and materials and things that we fight over here on Earth can come from there. And it's really like the time we live in. In the next just 5, 10, 15 years, like we'll start to have millions and billions of humanoid robots coming walking around Earth and on different planets and we'll start to have thousands of rockets launching every year and then daily flights to the moon at some point and this all is exponentially happening um, and yeah I'm excited about us doing it in a beautiful way and feel like right now is this like most important time in like almost the history of the universe is like when we're defining how we step outwards and then go on to be thousands or millions of new planets someday is like or right now is like how yeah how it's happening and so um it's it, it's going to happen. Like the rockets are being built, the robots are being built, the AI is here and coming, and there's enough push to expand, and so yeah, I'm excited about playing some small or hopefully larger role in like what is the culture of how we do it, and who do we do it, what is the ethos, and what it being about life and about humanity at its best and um, about us becoming becoming a beautiful galactic species that does it in the right way and so that all and however that happens over the next 5, 10 years like whatever wins in space is going to come back here and like win on Earth. And so like we really are at this point where it's defining the whole future of our species and the whole future of our galaxy.
yeah, that's so
So
true.
that's why it's important, everyone.
That's so
So
true.
I know we've talked before about your Burning Man background and sort of, yeah, I'm so glad you brought up what you just did because I definitely wanted to ask you about, like, as this happens, how do we lead with the right ethos and who is leading? And are there people, figures in this arena right now that you look to as, hey, like these people are here for the right reasons, or at least curious about how we would expand without kind of making the same mistakes that humans have made so far when we expand into new territory? So, are there players that you would point to, be willing to say on this podcast to all of our listeners that you're like, yes, those are the good guys? Or are there people that, are like, those are maybe, that's not what it's all about? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Hmm. Um,
that you could
y-
publicly share?
yeah, well, I'll just start with you mentioned Burning Man. I've been to 9 Burning Mans in a row, and so Burning Man is held out in the desert in Nevada, the Black Rock Desert, and it is a blank canvas that spreads for tens or even like 50 or 100 miles in like different directions and completely flat. Um, and and then a city gets built there, and like 70, 80,000 people go there every summer and just show up and build a whole city out of the dust. And then um, and you know, building and creating a city, and there's giant structures that get built, and the most epic parties on earth, and the you know like a full range, like most beautiful spiritual like experience. I feel it's like a pilgrimage for me to go there, um and it is it's a beautiful collection of big vision humans from all around the world that make this pilgrimage each year, and people have been doing it for a long time. And a lot goes into it, but a lot of magic happens, a lot of connections happen, um, a lot of big, beautiful inspiration for who we are and where we're heading. And so I feel very strongly with that, like connected with that like movement of humans, um, and feel that like what I'm working on is like kind of like a space program for this kind of movement. And it's about all of us. It's about who we are, um, and uh, yeah, I don't know if there's any like specific individuals I want to call out, um, or um, but I believe there's a lot of I've met a lot of like epic, amazing humans along my journey where I'm like, oh wow, we've got some big big, passionate, beautiful hearts that are uh, working towards a beautiful future. Um, and I get to a lot of cool events, like Burning Man's one of them. But like, some of these events where you're just around so many people that are building amazing things in the world and creating amazing initiatives or companies, or have all these different purposes that a lot of startups, like maybe you've never heard of that whole concept before, and similar to what LifeShip's doing, it's like a whole new, like, whoa, you're working on that. And like certain places I go, like Burning Man, I just like over the course of whatever, a week or two, like maybe I meet like 100 different people that just blow my mind in different directions of what they're working on, and it just can expand, um, yeah, expand my possibilities of like where we're heading and what we're doing. And so I have a lot of optimism in our species and what people are creating and what's coming next. And it doesn't mean there's not like the most epic challenges and the most epic real craziness happening as well, but like there's a lot of really cool big vision people that are that are doing things well, and working on things that are just like, um, yeah, blow your mind,
That can like
exponential. Uh,
restore your faith in humanity a little bit to get to
Totally.
hear what everyone else is working on and realize, like, okay, if even half of these people, put a dent in the world, it will be in a good direction. And yeah, you can feel the authenticity and the excitement. And yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
so have you ever seen that meme that's like a picture of the Milky Way, and then there's like a little dot pointing to us, and it says like you're here paying taxes and living in fear? I feel like that's a double-edged sword type of perspective, and like some humans take that, and we're probably in that category, and we're like, "Oh, wow, yeah, like there's so much more out there." But I think I've only recently begun to consider that there's another way of interpreting that, and for some humans, that's too much. They don't want to think about that. That's actually a really terrifying realization. So, what I think probably that's like where the collective consciousness is about to maybe experience the up leveling, recognizing what's actually possible for us, and then starting to reconsider space and our role within it from a totally different perspective. What would you say to people who are like, what is the point of this? I mean, this is such a basic question, but like I said, I'm only recently beginning to realize that there are people who don't look at this space stuff and just immediately go like, "Wow, that's amazing. This is so cool. It's so exciting." What do you say to people who are like, "There's so many problems on this planet. We need to be dealing with those. This space thing is just another like way for people to go like mine and put space trash out there, and like nothing is different about this process than previous sort of like, I don't know, maybe exploitations of our resources and of ourselves almost." Like, what would you say to those people?
Hmm. Um, yeah, we we are we are powerful humans. We are powerful creators, like each of us are, and like our dreams really do affect our reality. Like our visions for the future, our how we feel about the future really does affect. It does affect the now. It doesn't affect how it's unfolding. And I do believe time is a bit of an illusion, um, and the whole universe is intelligent. And so, the more we have narratives of where we're heading that are beautiful and that are um, big big dreams. Like the more those seem to happen, and like the
Mhm.
dots connect, and the things happen, and so yeah, imagining towards a bright future is something that inspires us and helps connect the dots to get us there. And it's
Sounds like
I have an 11-year-old daughter, and like I want her to grow up thinking about like it, dreaming and believing in an inspiring future, and knowing that she's playing a role in that and will play a role in that. And um, yeah, it's good for our kids to grow up with dreams and an exciting thing that they're working on, because that's going to help. And so even if it is like just like setting the vision and setting the dreams, and then that plays a big impact of on us. And but I do believe that there is like um, a deeper cosmic thing going on, and that like this whole story of humanity is unfolding, and I do believe that we are. I don't know if we're destined for the stars, but it's within our possibility of humanity's future, is that like we go on to be a beautiful galactic species that is the species that does it. And uh, yeah, I think like holding that direction and encouraging others to play some role in and that doesn't mean start a space company, but uh, like working towards a beautiful future is something.
That's a great segue into just talking about our collaboration for a second, because obviously you've really inspired us and made something accessible to our company. Like you said, we're not going out to start a space company, but we do want to be part of pushing the beautiful dream and promoting it and doing our part on that front. And so we are very excited to have already partnered with you, sending Endora herself on 2 missions next year. But the Kickstarter, first of all, thank you for backing our Kickstarter. Day one. Thank you. A true gentleman. Um, but that is a big driving force in what we want to do. And as Endora, our mission is to spark evolution through reflection. And so we definitely think people, if you're talking about the future of humanity and how we evolve, it has to involve space. So that's kind of where we feel like we slot in. And I would love to talk about Snark Tank, kind of like our random connection, like meeting you at Snark Tank, which was a hilarious experience in and of itself. And what you were talking about, we had never heard of before. And we were like pretty blown away. And then sort of like not really connecting again until we randomly ran into you at South by Southwest. And then all of a sudden, now we're on like 3 missions to space. So,
We're pretty excited about that.
yeah, it's and sort of like the way things are unfolding and the way everything's connected and everything is really alive. It seems like this is just one of many pathways that was sort of like meant to unfold the way that it did. And we're really excited to be here doing that. And, I'd really love to sort of like take a turn in sort of the latter part of this conversation and talk about like what else is out there. Like we're getting people to dream, getting them to hopefully like think about the possibilities for our species. But you did say that alien life and more was on the table for discussion. So, with all of your work, your previous work with the cameras and telescopes, what is out there?
I don't feel like I've necessarily seen anything that's like, oh, there's flying saucers and the government has the alien autopsies going on and there's bodies. Um,
Necessarily.
yeah, and sure, like people get obsessed about it and send me things, and I've seen, seen the book and people like this, but like no one thing there has like completely convinced me of anything. And I do feel it's just like such a big topic, and there are, there's um,
Are you
but
tracking?
I do feel. Um, I feel there's alien intelligence out there, and I do, um, I do, I do think there's a lot of other species out there, and it's probably far and spread far between, and spread far between in the time axes as well, and so it's not. I don't know if there's other, how likely it is in even in our galaxy, or whether there's others out there. But as far as intelligent life, but it does seem like there was life on Mars at some point, and it's very likely that life just does its thing, and life evolves, and life has an intelligence to it, and like. Like I said before, from for my dives into consciousness and explorations, and it's become clear that time is a bit of an illusion, and that the future, the past, and the present are all really like the universe, um, and so in that, like the whole universe is kind of unfolding with the whole intelligence of the whole universe, of everywhere, and of the future and of the past of everywhere. And so I do believe like this, what is happening on Earth at this time, what's happening like in this very moment, in this conversation, in the words that are coming out of my mouth, like that all is like influenced by the whole universe, like all of it, like the future story of where we're headed, the past, which is maybe not fixed and is more evolving out of this present moment as well. And so, yeah, I do feel like alien consciousness and alien intelligence and alien, the story of every other civilization, like impacts how humans are evolving and how our story is unfolding. And I do feel that story of humanity is like, the most epic story ever written, or the most epic story being written, and so of course that story is going to have like the most epic villains and the most epic close calls and the most uh, eh, we just we've got billions of people, and so like the wildest story is gonna emerge, um and yeah, I do feel like when I've gotten myself in the best states and gone and spent time in the rainforest, or gone and had my pilgrimage to the desert, then like I really get clarity on like the the beautiful future we have, and how much we are being guided, and how much the universe has our back, and how much like when we take a step in the right direction or orient in the right direction, that like that the synchronicities happen and the magic happens, and the universe helps you in that direction, and the right people come into your life, and yeah, and it always surprises you and blows your mind, and you don't know exactly how it's gonna happen, but uh, you look back and all the dots have connected to where I am or where you are, and it just feels like, okay, this is heading in a certain direction, um, and yeah, and so I feel alien intelligence is in there somewhere, and just like the whole thing is intelligent, um, and like it is quite possible that aliens are either here with us, or aware of us, and we are just getting like more and more exponential ways of looking for them and searching for data and looking in different ways. Uh, and if they were waiting for a time to come, like they would probably wait until we reached at least this state of technical maturity to come. They wouldn't come when we're riding around on horses or living in caves. Like they would come when we're like a global connected, um, civilization, like with mature technologies and rapidly exponentially evolving. That's when they could make the biggest impact. So yeah, if they were aware of intelligent life and they were like planning on intervening at some point, then that that could happen in the next decades, and or happen any day. And so
This brings us to Three Eye Atlas. Are you tracking Three Eye Atlas's path, or do you think that's just going to sail through, no excitement?
I'm watching it, but I don't see anything there that is convincing of it being being a ship or being a ship that just blasted through our solar system and then leaves. Yeah, it seems very much like these. Now we know there are interstellar comets. There are rocks that
Might
blast
just fly through
through.
here.
Yeah, and it's possible like the building blocks of life came from something like that,
Mhm.
and got into our solar system, and then
Sort of like a pollination type of situation, you know? Okay, so sort of, wrapping up, are there any like movies or let's just say media that you could point to maybe from your childhood to get into our sort of nostalgic reflecting mindset that also really influenced your love for space and your interest in it?
I know I recently rewatched the movie Contact with my daughter Luna, and that's a beautiful movie, and uh, yeah, I remember that having an impact, and that's about looking for life out there and making contact and receiving a message and building something, and it not necessarily, it being something more around like our consciousness and
Yeah.
how we would connect and how we would receive a message, and um yeah, that definitely had an impact for sure.
When you envision like what, a moon base could look like in a few years, what does it look like in your mind? Are you thinking more Star Wars, Star Trek? Like, what's the visual in your brain?
We are going to have lots of humanoid robots very soon, and they just make sense. They're a lot easier to do so. So there will be machines up there. There will be mining. There will be um, utilities providing power and
Wow. Yeah.
collecting ice to provide water, and um,
So there will
and
be
I am.
Theo and R2D2 pretty much.
And stormtroopers probably,
Wally,
but
Storm.
that's
Yes.
we'll figure that out as we go.
And
And you want to go to the moon.
the well, the big rockets are being built now that can carry, 100 people to Mars and 100 people to the moon. And so, um, it does really feel like the frontier is opening and the railroads will suddenly be open and suddenly we'll go from like there were no airplanes to like you could fly from continent to continent. And so,
Mhm.
really, I like the phrase that the opportunities on the moon are continental. It's like when we found North America or whatever. It's like a whole new continent, and um, yeah, a lot of things are going to be happening up there, um, and and it will start to become exponentially more affordable to go. And I do feel that like in whatever 10, 10, 15 years, like in 5 years, we'll people will start going more and more, and then more like 20 years, we could have 1 million people in space, and it really will take off. And so, yeah, it will become, if people want to go, they'll be able to go to space. And as far as going to space, like that's just how you'll fly to go halfway around the world. Like if you're flying to another continent, you'll start to use rockets more, and go into space and come back down. And so yeah, I think we will change. We will have a, like right now you think of astronauts and you think of like these big suits and like super well trained, and it just will become more and more common that, okay, here's a here's an opportunity to go to the moon for 2 weeks and be part of this thing, or go somewhere for a few months. And uh, yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
cool.
there will be there will be settlements and bases and cities, and it's not all one way trips. It's like you go and come back, and there's a lot of stuff going and a lot of stuff happening, and a lot of ways people can be part of it, and a lot of whole new types of jobs, and um, yeah,
And if you're
ways for
a part of
people to
the
be part of it.
if you're a part of the crew that gets to go in 20 years, they can go search for the time capsule that we're sending. It's a little like hide and
Yeah,
seek. We're going to go
Yeah.
ahead and send it up there, and then our future people can discover it
Right. If the aliens
if
don't
no
get
one
to it
else.
first.
yeah. Hopefully they leave it. They leave
Right.
it
Look
for at
at it,
least
leave
I hope
it. Right.
1,000 years. So,
They're going to
um,
steal it for one of their museums.
I do think it's pretty crazy though that you can look at the moon and you've already landed something up there. That's pretty awesome. But I'm pretty excited once Endora's
Yes.
up there and then our capsule's up there. I think that's pretty cool, and it's something that it is. It's permanent. It's up there. It can't it's not gonna fall off, right?
Right, Ben?
Right. But it's pretty cool. And I feel like just staring at the moon, I'm always trying to
Hmm.
get a picture on my iPhone, and it's like the saddest thing ever. So I need to get your recommendations on a good telescope, at home telescope, to get a good view of the moon. Um, but there's something about just staring at the moon that just gives you the perspective, again, kind of thinking about, you can see the moon, but then thinking beyond that, there's so much more. I feel like to me, it's such a meditative experience just to like stare at the moon.
Hmm.
So yeah, the endless possibilities, I guess, that it kind of represents.
totally. Yeah, I remember very clearly the first satellite I had worked on, and I like literally had put my blood, sweat, and tears and sleepless nights into building the camera that went on this thing, and when it finally went into space, it was like, oh, whoa, like part of something I worked on went into space,
Yeah,
Yes.
um, and then. I had been working on LifeShip for a while, and I kind of like fully believed in what I was doing. But then when it actually landed on the moon, and we put the first ever pyramid that humans have put on another celestial body, um, yeah, we put the first pyramid on it. It was like, wow, this is real. And
that's pretty cool.
if I can put one this big, then maybe we can put
Yeah,
a big one that we can walk inside, and like maybe this is this is just unfolding and happening, and yeah, it's given me a new trust. And the moon is it's a it's like the coolest place to put something in a way. It's
It really
you see it
is.
totally.
every day, and it's up there, and um, yeah,
Yeah. Also, just, I don't know. I think it's really cool. It's a great way to just even talk about going to the moon. And I feel like in this industry, you have to be extremely, long term vision and stick to it, and, just celebrate the wins along the way. And so, yeah, start with the one small pyramid with the time capsule and go from there. I think that's really cool and exciting. So I hope to one day tour the full size
Hmm.
pyramid on the moon.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
definitely open to going.
okay.
And
Well,
and we really
there will be festivals.
okay,
Yeah.
well, we absolutely want to be invited to the festival. And in all seriousness, thank you for the work you're doing, because it's we really can't overstate how excited we are to be a part of this and how much we believe in the philosophies you've been describing. So it's very cool how you're leading on this, and it's an extremely exciting time to be a human. And, yes, we have so many challenges, but it does feel that the old way, the sort of whispers of its crumbling, are here. And we are going to be entering a completely new era for humanity. And it actually could be amazing. So we're very excited to be in the mix in, this day and time. And, thank you for coming on the show. I'm going to read a little conclusion. Um, this has been such a special conversation, and what LifeShip is doing is extraordinary. And we are thrilled to be joining forces for this mission. And we do just want to plug that together, Endora and LifeShip are sending human memories to the moon in 2027, a way to preserve what makes us who we are. And anyone can be part of that by joining our Kickstarter and adding their story to the capsule. Ben, do you have anything else you want to throw in here?
Um, yeah, I love what Endora's doing, and I love that we're including these memories and uh, people's creations and stories, um, and there's different ways to participate. Like you can get your own full plate in there with like your own custom plaque added inside this pyramid, and as part of the Endora part of the payload inside of it, and then we also miniaturize little art and photos and people's stories, and so there's all different ways to participate, and then all the content also gets etched into this crystal that'll last literally a billion years. It's designed to last forever in space. And so, yeah, there's something special to think of, like what we're doing together with Endora on the next moon mission. This one's launching in July of 2026. Is we put a whole um, uh, well, actually, the one going to the asteroid is the one where we put the full plate on, and so that one has a full 1 inch by 1 inch plate that has Endora on it, and that is like a physical thing you can hold in your hand and be like, whoa, this is up on an asteroid in deep space out there, and yeah, so
And
with
it
this,
would be around for
there's
literally a billion years.
yeah, yeah. And
Crazy.
so with this mission, we're putting that on the moon, and people can add their own full plate and get copies of that plate, or add a miniaturized thing onto it. And so we physically put it inside a pyramid and send a pyramid on a moon lander and send that up on a rocket, and you get to watch the launch. You get to track it on the way to the moon and see the progress. You get to it has live video of it landing down on the moon, and it's definitely a powerful, emotional experience you'll never forget. And you'll always look up, and it changes your relationship with the moon and the cosmos and life and the universe and your dreams and who you are as part of the story. And so yeah, I'm thrilled that's part of what I'm able to do with LifeShip is like help help people create a very memorable dream that is part of their whole life story and part of who they are as um, part of the story of humanity.
Yeah, I feel like the exercise of thinking about what memory you want to send is a pretty intense little reflection exercise in general because yeah, it makes you really think like, okay, what do I want to send to the moon? Like what is my legacy? What do I,
Hmm.
what do I really
Hmm.
want to put out into the world or into the universe? And that's how we viewed it, at least
Hmm.
with like, okay, well, we are super pumped to put Endora out into the universe because that is kind of our mission and we do believe in it and we're excited to spread that, far and wide. And I think for anyone to just really think for a minute about, okay, I'm going to send something to the moon and what is that going to be? I think that's a fun exercise for like the dreamers of the world. So we're excited to see what memories that we collect along the way
And we're
for the
looking
time
for
capsule.
probably, we're looking for space dreamers, other space dreamers. And for all of the reasons you have so eloquently described, it feels so important.
Amazing, amazing. really excited to see you do it. And it's
Okay, cool.
yeah, a good time of year for this. A good yeah,
Yes.
Yep.
good
Yes.
time
Hopefully we're
for
going to be
reflection
doing
and
some like,
memories and
Yep.
yes.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
it could be an exciting, this feels like another sort of exciting moment in our journey. So we'll see what happens.
thank you, Kitty. Thank you, Coco.
All right. Talk to you
Okay,
soon.
have a good one.